Hey guys, Phil at the Marine Shop here, back with another video. Today we're going to take a look at a couple of different Mercury propellers. Probably a little bit different to some of the videos you've seen from me in the past, but this one's designed a little bit more educational for those looking at a new motor or changing their propeller. I'm just going to go through a couple of the differences between two different ones today, but hopefully moving forward a few more down the track. So here they are. We've got the 3-blade Black Max aluminium propeller and the 4-blade Trophy Sport stainless steel propeller. Before I go into detail about the propellers themselves, I want to take a moment to talk about Mercury's reflex hubs. So these come with any new propeller from Mercury to suit an engine from 40 horsepower and above. Basically, they're a plastic insert that runs in between the propeller shaft and the propeller itself. These are designed to protect your engine. At the end of the day, the engine's what's worth the money, and the last thing you want to do is go out, hit a log, hit a rock, or a bit of concrete, or whatever it is under the water, and wreck your propeller entirely, and more so wreck your gearbox. These things protect both. So the plastic inside will actually strip down, and the propeller will actually free spin. So if you hit a log hard enough, the propeller will actually just spin in place, and the prop shaft will spin inside. These things are basically there to protect your investment. Importantly, what they also do is they do provide enough friction once you have broken them at low RPM that the propeller will still turn, and which means you're going to get home regardless of how far away or where you are. The most important thing is getting back. So Mercury haven't forgotten about that, and they've introduced these to help combat people damaging their gearboxes, particularly with the stainless steel propellers, more so than the aluminium propellers, but I'll touch on that shortly. So moving on to the props themselves, we've got the 3-blade aluminium propeller here. This is called a Black Max propeller. It's basically your stock standard run-of-the-mill propeller. It'll look pretty familiar to most of you who own a boat. Basically, not anything drastic in design. 3 blades, nicely balanced. It's a good all-round propeller. It doesn't really have a strength in any particular area. They've got reasonable hull shot, reasonable top speed, low drag coefficient, so they're good for fuel. But basically, that's about the extent they are. They're just a standard propeller. The reality is, in today's market, none of us are standard boaters. We all do different things, whether it be offshore fishing or river fishing or lake fishing, water sports. It could be anything. That's where the stainless steel propellers really come into their own. So this one here, you might notice a 4-bladed stainless steel propeller. This is called the Trophy Sport. Both of these are designed for 40 horsepower or 40 to 60 horsepower engines, but to touch on the benefits of a 4-bladed propeller versus a 3-bladed propeller, basically the first and foremost, the biggest difference is torque. You'll notice, obviously, with an extra blade, that there's far more blade surface area in contact with the water all the time. What that means is essentially you're pushing more water for the same rotation of the propeller. With that in mind, it means that for every revolution of the propeller, we're moving a larger volume of water, which means we're producing more torque from the engine. So same engine, different propeller, different results. We actually like to use the 4-bladed propellers on the mid-range 4-stroke engines. 4-strokes traditionally lack a little bit of torque out of the hole when compared to a 2-stroke, and this helps counteract that. You add a little bit of torque and it adds a lot of performance down low to an engine. So that's where these propellers really come into their own. The other big difference, obviously, is what they're made from. Aluminium, it's a very lightweight material. It's also a very cheap material. Most of the time, people buying these propellers for this sort of motor are doing it because of the cost. They're basically almost half the cost of one of these. But there are a few benefits to the aluminium propeller. Number 1 being weight, obviously, 2 being cost, and 3, what people don't often consider is, if you're on a smaller engine, without the reflex hubs, the softer material actually means that if you do hit a log or you do hit a rock, the propeller is actually more likely to break or chip or bend more than the gearbox is. And at the end of the day, one of these is heaps cheaper to replace than a gearbox. And if you can break one of these and avoid breaking the gearbox, it's a blessing in disguise. So that you'll find a lot of guys actually carry, particularly duck shooters and guys that do a lot of shallow water fishing. They'll carry a spare one of these in their boat. I don't personally think that's necessary, but some people can be too cautious. Stainless steel, on the other hand, much heavier. If I could show you guys the weight of these things, I would, but significantly heavier than the aluminium counterpart. So straight off the bat, you'll notice a huge difference in weight. Also a massive difference in design. Stainless steel is a much stronger material, which means we can actually produce propeller blades that can cope with forces that have just never been able to be done before. So this is the main reason you'll see stainless steel propeller designs that are just so different from an aluminium propeller. The strength of the material means that we can produce a propeller that propels the boat forward more than an aluminium propeller. 4 blades, as I mentioned earlier, it does have a little bit more drag on the water because of the extra blades. So generally speaking, you'll probably use a fraction more fuel, but being a stronger material, the actual leading edge of the blade is actually quite thin compared to the aluminium, which means it is efficient. For a 3-blade stainless steel propeller versus a 3-blade aluminium propeller, you'll probably find the 3-blade stainless steel propeller is going to be a little bit more efficient in the water because of the thinness of the blades. Look, the reality is, talk to your dealer about each of these propellers, whether you're looking at an engine that's 40 horsepower or 400 horsepower. There's no right propeller for you compared to somebody else. What's good for you may not be good for somebody else, and you need to be discussing these things with your dealer. Where you're going to use the boat, what you're going to do with the boat, how often you're going to be using the boat, and is there any strengths that you want? Do you want a boat that is focused solely on top speed, or do you want something that's going to be lightning out of the hole? These are all things that can be adjusted for propellers. You'll hear things like pitch and diameter get thrown around a lot, but the reality is, chat to your dealer. There's no right answer. There's a lot of wrong answers. Mercury produced 700 different propellers. These are just 2 in a massive range. So as I said, there's nothing like talking to your dealer and finding out what's going to be better for your boat. Also worth noting that most propeller manufacturers, Mercury included, will actually let you buy one propeller and try it, and if that's not quite right, then you can try a different one. Obviously there are some conditions involved in that, but for more on that, get in contact with us at www.themarineshop.com.au or flick me an email or give us a phone call. Whether you're in the market for a new boat or just repowering your old boat or just a new propeller, there's nothing you can do more than chat to your dealer and get a feel for what's going to be best for you. I don't think I can talk to you about these much more. If you've got any questions, feel free to get in contact with us. As always, thank you for watching and stay tuned for more videos like this down the track. I hope you enjoyed it.